Good afternoon and welcome to Flat Earth United. This is going to be a stream to iron out a few creases with my OBS. Essentially it's a trial and error with any of these technological things, and I'm no expert, so I'm fumbling my way through, and each time I get it to work I get a little bit closer to it being what I would call perfect, but every time there's an issue it would seem that I do these tests endlessly and then have the same problem over and over again. So what I've found out is that my internet provider limits the internet at night. So considering I'm doing most of these streams at about 11 PM UK time, it would seem that my internet connection just isn't the same when I do the test as it is when I do the stream, which is very difficult to replicate because if I'm going to do a stream at 11 o'clock shortly after I finish work, the chances are I'm not going to want to do a test. So what I may do later on this evening is exactly that, run another test. I'll just re-stream something that I've already done. I don't know what yet, maybe the interview with Morgile or Jeren or something, because they're both Christmassy and Christmas is coming up, so why not? So I'll put those on. But the frustrating part I'm going to probably show you, so I'll go over to my monitor and actually show you what I can see and minimise the OBS feed so you don't get to see all the crap going on my page. Let's just, there we go, TV screen, that's the one. Position across to that. So this is what I'm seeing with OBS, but if I minimise OBS so we don't get a load of video feedback, one of the things I was monitoring was sort of PC temperatures and things, which is fairly tedious, and because I've now done this a few times I can actually talk while I'm doing this rather than actually finding my way to each of these things and figuring out what's causing a racket. So a surplus to requirement fan, which was in the top originally, that was the main fan that would come on occasionally if the CPU needed cooling, because it's got a passive cooler, just a massive heatsink that didn't actually need a fan. But then I've decided to make that redundant and only come on in an emergency, and a massive great big fan that comes on or stays on at a very low speed, but is massive, so you know it doesn't make any noise at all, but that would whir up as it was encoding. This is all relevant when I get to why I'm showing you this, and then another fan that again doesn't come on until it's very hot. So the idea being that no fans come on, and then there's also a GPU, which is down here. The whole point of all this is so that I can actually, using OBS, let's bring that back up, make it green, sorry about the video feedback. So up here we've got, it'll lock me out of a lot of these settings because I'm actually streaming as I speak, and I'm willing to bet if I get rid of this Skype message, this Skype message. Oh. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Don't worry about. Stream will probably get deleted for anybody who's watching. It's just for my benefit to watch what's down here. So currently, I've actually lowered this yesterday, the kilobits per second, and on the first test it was 10,000, and I've now got it down to 2,600, and it still seems to peak at 3,000. But when they ran the auto test, actually I'll show you that first. So up here in tools, for anybody who uses OBS, you have a grayed out automatic configuration wizard. Sorry, I can't quite see it on mine. And this setting here, which is unfortunately grayed out, so it's not particularly clear, but the top menu in tools will just run a stream test and check all the different resolutions on OBS automatically and test it against download speed. Now when I first did it, when I first got OBS, they hadn't actually factored in the fact that you'd be playing a game. Now I'm not playing a game, but I am restreaming a YouTube or G+ stream, which is, I don't know, in terms of demand I would assume is similar, maybe even more demanding. Who cares? I've got a very good internet connection, or so I thought, and at the moment you can all see 0 dropped frames. You know, nothing's going wrong, 0% problems, you know, 5 minutes of live and not a single drop frame, and the is amazing. The CPU usage is virtually nothing, which I'm quite amazed by, considering I've just changed a few of these settings. So that's what I initially ran, and it worked for the very first OBS stream, which was a subliminal messages, a Coke vending machine that I'd taken a photograph of that had a subliminal message, and Zoe Scribner and myself discussed it, and that was streamed at, I think it was 1080p 60 frames. It was superb. It looked amazing, very crisp, very clear, no jutter, no nothing, and that was off the auto setup. But as soon as I came to do a show, it went to hell. It was absolutely appalling. So up in the, after lots and lots of research and checking this tedious subject out to a massive extent, I've gone through what all these various different settings do to figure out how to get the stream to look nice. And after you've actually set your resolutions up, sorry, wrong one, which again I'm all locked out of, and I've initially, like I say, it was just native 1080p, which is excellent resolution. I've now downscaled it to 720, which is still HD resolution. Started off at 60, that didn't work. Now it's at 30, and with the kilobits per second at what is technically the maximum for 720, 30. So bored of this unless they're into tech. My apologies. It's just I need to do this to see it all working. So once you've got your actual resolution, you've got your output settings, and this is where I've set my bitrate. So 2600, just dropped it yesterday after the show with left-hand path started to drop frames right at the beginning of the show. Very, very frustrating. So that's now been dropped down. But there's a few other settings that basically allow you to make your computer do the rendering rather than sending it, I think, to whatever OBS runs on, whatever the server is that's doing the rendering for your stream. But at that end, you can change that so that the PC is actually rendering all of the frames, and then it's sending it out, which uses less of the bandwidth that's needed and more of your CPU. So you can see here it says higher equals less CPU usage. So most of the things I had to read were kind of, you had to reverse the logic in them, because I want to do it the other way around. I want to get the PC, which is a very, very good PC, very fast, very good graphics card, to do all of the heavy lifting, and then I can focus on cooling it and keeping it quiet, which I've already done in the build of the PC. It was originally designed to be completely passive, but as soon as you put load on it, obviously it does need a certain degree of cooling, i.e. one fan. So there we go. That's now been set so that it's running at the highest I can run the PC. Low latency, high performance is set to low latency, high performance equals less CPU. So therefore, higher equals less. Yes, I wanted it on lower, correct. Just check, double checking I am actually writing what I've done. So yeah, so it's using the majority of my PC. I don't think I can go through the custom settings on this while it's streaming. The recording bit's irrelevant to all of the streaming settings. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. What's up here? Output mode. So yes, I can't go into the advanced settings. It'll only let me look at the simple stuff, which is a pity. That's kind of what I wanted to show you in terms of how you use the PC settings, which might be useful. If I do keep this up, I may or may not have to look at what was on those messages that appeared on Skype. But there we go. So let's get rid of Skype completely, in fact. Okay, so where do we go from here? Let's do that. So yeah, the bottom line is I think the only way around this is to try and actually stream or replicate a stream without actually doing a show and start monitoring things like the temperatures. Again, maybe I can reference this later. So where are they? So yeah, let's see. So nominal, as they say. So yeah, the one I can have my camera on and oops, not to TV and webcam. There we go. That's quite useful. Okay. The trouble is, though, is doing anything now? Oh yes, yes it is. Yeah, that was the most recent thing I've done, is to tell OBS to also use the GPU as well as my CPU. Yep, so the fan started to work. Yeah, it's definitely using the GPU now. Maybe that's why the CPU usage dropped so much. 7. It was at I think 10 to 15% at 30 frames per second. Watch my kilobits per second. I do keep hitting the peak though. Maybe that's, you know, they go over the peak. I've set 2.6. But everything's hunky-dory, you know, this is perfect. I don't know, I'm not going to be able to find out until I actually do this tonight and restream something that I've already restreamed and see how it copes at 11 PM. So if I do leave this up, it'll have a comment section. Maybe suggest what comments, in the comments, what video you'd like me to restream, if any. Probably get loads of people saying, don't restream stuff, just do live shows. And I thought, well, I can't do this and test at the same time. It's just too... There's only so much multitasking you can do. You know, I haven't even been paying attention to the chat, if there's anybody even there. Just Tim Osman, Martin Liedtke, a couple of people. Hello, Tim Osman and Martin Liedtke, thank you for being here. This is akin to one of Tim Osman's, what are they called, trap sessions, where he's essentially fiddling on his computer while he has an audience. But yeah, that's what I'm doing now to try and figure out OBS. It'd be interesting to know what resolution you have your OBS set to, Tim Osman. I would assume very low, because I saw your bitrate running at about 1200, so I assume you're definitely below 720. But there we go. Morning, Martin, good to see you here. So yeah, it's one of those, I hope, with baby steps to get the show to look sharper and sharper and sharper. The ideal world would be what I got when I tested it initially in the day, the very first time, and 10,000 kilobits per second, and you know, full HD 60 frames per second, as good as you can really want. You know, I'm never going to get 4K out of this equipment. Not my equipment, but the OBS is limited by that, and certainly Google Plus is limited by that. It won't stream 4K to my knowledge. So, you know, 1080p 60 frames per second, what I first got on that subliminal messages stream, was the ideal. It looked wicked. Now it doesn't, and it jutters, and it drops frames. Bloody annoying. But there we go, these things take time. You can't just expect to start using something like this and have it work immediately. And, you know, I was talking to Martin Liedtke last night about exactly this. When you hit stream instead of record, it's a whole different ballgame in terms of what's going on, what's being rendered, what's being pumped out. So yeah, if I sound like I'm whispering, it's because I've raised all the audio levels. I just don't want to wake my kid up, who I've mercifully got to sleep with a heavy cold. And she's given me time to do this. As soon as she wakes up, I'll end my testing. Getting less toasty than it did last time. It got up to about 60 degrees, so this fan hasn't even started spinning yet. Super chuffed. What else can I test, or what else was I going to test? I don't think I can, because I can't make any changes to the settings. So that's it, yeah. I'll just have to run another stream later today. Look out for that if you want to watch a repeat. If you don't like them, tough luck. That's useful for me, so that's the only purpose in doing them. One last chat. I'm sure I can transition to a much nicer looking chat. There we go. I can actually read it. There we go. Martin Liedtke. I'll manage, I think. Yeah, I'm sure you will manage, Martin. You know, you'll do the same steps I will. You're as logical as I am in these things. You know, you'll figure it out. I know you will. 720. Oh. Look up Wirecast. Yeah, I will do. Thank you for that, Tim Osman. I'll look up Wirecast. Write it down before my brain forgets it. Very much. Very useful. Let's see if I've missed anything in the chat. Wirecast is for free, question mark. Don't know, Martin. How do you scroll up? Interesting. Oh, there we go. You have to use the up and down buttons when you're watching it. Helpful. Just reading the chat. Shall I just read out? Good old Jeff, having fun yet? Clapping from Dell, Shed Martin. Chat by the looks things. I think pressing that I need to answer. It's the bus that will be having problems. Let's write that down. $500 CPU. Should hope not. And start using Wirecast. Oh right, yeah. Now I know what Wirecast is. Yes, I've seen you use it. Hi Ches, how you doing? Good to have you here. Not the most exciting of broadcasters, I'm afraid. 7 cameras on it. I don't really know what. I've not been keeping up and I've read it, so there we go. I've done quarter of an hour to see what the CPU usage was like, and I think I'm pretty much there. 8%. There's nothing, it's dropped. Definitely being used now. That's good news. Good news, good news. It's rendering my shit locally. Freeze, fuck all. Can't be very much if it's only at 32%. It says RPM, but that's wrong. 32% fan speed. Fuck all. Definitely, it's definitely using it. There we go. I haven't got my projector running, so I'm having to look at a tiny little screen to actually see this. Fridge's compressor. Stupid. It's got a water cooler and it's got a fan in it. Annoying. So the PC's silent, good. Everything's nice and hunky-dory temperature-wise. I'm done, man. I think this is it. All that's left to do is stream that. Okay, tedious though this was. Thank you very much to my 2, 3, 4 audience members. Much obliged for you having sat through this rather rubbish stream. Well, I keep it up is doubtful, as nobody's going to be interested in this. Although they might be, who knows? Plodding their way through PC temperatures and OBS streaming rates might be fascinating to somebody, who knows. I doubt it. In the meantime, if I do keep this up, I will just say this anyway. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley. See you in the next video.